Okay, hello. My name is Richard Miles, and I am the Principal Advisor for the GTZ Gender Responsive Community-Based Policing Project in Bangladesh. I've been working in South Asia now for 7 years on police reform issues and have been working in Nepal and Bangladesh on community policing. Previously, I was a police officer in the United Kingdom for a total of 35 years and was involved in community policing as a chief officer, implementing it in a nationwide police force. Community policing is something that is a sort of expression that makes people feel very reassured, but actually is often used incorrectly. Community policing came from some work in the US in the late 1970s, 1980s, where two groups of academics working together were looking at improving policing systems. They recognized that traditional policing systems, certainly in the US and in the UK, were failing. Over-reliance on technology, on fast cars, radios, things of this nature, had pulled police away from their original roots in the community. And had also undermined the basic philosophy of the modern police as started in London by Sir Robert Peel, where it was said that the primary role of police was to prevent crime, and only secondly to detect crime after it had been committed. The two approaches were based first on the work of Herman Goldstein through problem-oriented policing, where he recognized that there were three elements to a crime: a place, a victim, and a criminal. And that increasingly the attention had been focused on the criminal and not on the place and the victim. And yet the majority of prevention work takes place with the victim and also in the locality where crimes are committed. This work coincided with work by Trajinowicz and Buckaroo, who identified community policing as a return to the original idea of the people being the police and the police being the people, and a partnership. They wrote two excellent books. The first one, Community Policing, and the second one, Community Policing, How to Get Started. These books are available on Amazon through second-hand booksellers. Very cheap, and they are excellent. Now, community policing relies on a partnership between police and community to solve problems, to identify the causes of crime and to deal with those causes. These can be environmental, where the criminally inclined make use of an environment for their purposes. Classic example here in Bangladesh, in a town called Bogra, men used to hide in bushes near a tap where women had to go to collect water, and they would sexually harass or sexually assault the women as they were walking up to the tap. The community examined this. The way they solved this problem was by cutting back the vegetation around the path leading to the tap, so there was nowhere for these men to hide. Classic problem-solving approach. South Asia has a lot to offer in regard to this, because there is a lot of strength in communities in South Asia. Because of the lack of provision by authorities, communities are used to solving their own problems. And by improving those problem-solving skills, refining them, and also building trust between police and communities, which historically is very lacking in South Asia because of the British colonial model of policing. When the British introduced the colonial policing into this area, they introduced a police force. The purpose of the police was to control a country, to control the people in the country. The complete opposite of community-based policing, which is about a partnership, a sharing of the responsibility. It is not about vigilantism. It is about the community having trust in the police, jointly identifying problems and identifying solutions. Nepal has been doing this for over 10 years, and I would say that they are an example for anyone to follow in South Asia. Tremendously effective work. I was there only last week, again looking at the wonderful results that they've achieved. An example in Kathmandu, an area before community policing, high crime, 20 police officers deployed per day to a World Heritage site where there were lots of tourists. After community policing, they now deploy 3 police officers per day. Crime level's gone down, the need for crime has gone down. So to summarise, community policing in South Asia is a very potent mechanism to help communities deal with their lack of access to justice through the formal system. Implementation is difficult, it is long-term. You are trying to persuade conservative organisations, police organisations, to change. And for any donors who are involved in this, you will need patience. It takes a great deal of time for trust to be built in areas where trust doesn't exist. But it is worth the effort, because from my experience, there are fine police officers in South Asia who have a very strong vested interest in this happening. And one tip, if you are looking to implement this, when you're talking to police officers, look at their medal ribbons. If you are talking to someone who has got a UN medal ribbon, they are people who are more likely to be aware of the concept of community policing and sympathetic to it. Thank you.